Hey guys, my name is Bobby and you are welcome back on the Not Your Normal podcast series. If this is your first episode, thank you for coming, and if this is you returning, thank you for always coming again. If this is your first, do not leave without subscribing. So let's get right into it. Today's episode is a bit different. I wouldn't say it's different. I think I've done solo episodes before, so really it's just me on this episode again. And so what am I talking about on this episode? So basically, guys, I have in one of the previous episodes with a guest or so, I did talk about, challenges being faced, in the creative industry, right? There's so many challenges you can go through. There's so many challenges you can face as a person, be you a photographer, a videographer, whatever it is that you do. So, what I just wanted to take time out today to point out or to say was, I remember in one of those episodes, I did talk about, emphasizing more on challenges, or like on facing challenges in your career or in your field. And I just felt like I needed to enlighten more on that or talk more on that. And that's what we're going to do on this episode. So really, let's go into it, right? So facing challenges, right? Now, there's always this idea of being so comfortable in your comfort zone. And then sometimes I think it's a bit difficult for people to be able to make certain decisions or do certain things that is required of them, depending on what it is that you do, right? So let's start with a challenge that I did face when I was starting out, right? And one of those things will be, so about 3 years back, if I'm being, maybe 3 years, maybe 3-4 years back, right? When I was starting out, I had a friend who had a camera and everything. So, we went for I think it was our first event to take pictures and videos. And I was so hyped because I was looking forward to, creating content from that. That was going to be the first content I was going to put out. And I was so hyped because I really wanted people to oh my God, I needed to see the reaction of people. I needed to see what people would say when I put out this content and stuff like that. And we went for the event. Event went well. Beautiful event, successful event. Everything went well. And after the event, I told him, okay, you know what? Send me the pictures, send me the videos. I'm gonna edit them, or just come meet me and let me collect the files, and then we'll edit them. And we kept procrastinating. Now that's the first problem I think people also need to take out of their time or of their life. Do not ever procrastinate on everything that you're doing. Never ever procrastinate. So we kept procrastinating, and along the line, so he went out on this day and he got robbed. Basically, the camera was in his boot and his laptop and everything, and his car got stolen. So literally everything was gone. So he called me and he was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, I'm good. What's going on? When are we going to meet? And he said, I've just been robbed. And the first thing that came to my head was, okay, it didn't occur to me that this was where he was going. So I just thought maybe he was robbed of money or something. And, he told me his car was stolen. And he said the camera was in the boot, his laptop and everything. And I was like, oh shit, that is bad. I couldn't complain because, first of all, that's a big deal, and on the second hand, I didn't even know what to say, right? So that right there was a big challenge for me because that was me just, trying to start. That was me just coming in to the field, and this happened. And for me, it just felt like, okay, it was one step forward, one step back. And I'm like, okay, what do we do now? Because right now I just hit back to square one and I didn't even know how to move from there. I didn't even feel like something in me was already you know what, just fuck it, man. Maybe this isn't for you. This isn't, and those are the kind of thoughts that will come to your head. Now, there are different challenges that are gonna come to you as a person. But I think one of this kind of challenge that came to me, I would say that's just, that's probably like the challenge that just said, you know what, welcome to, this. And it took a while, it took a lot of courage to be able to say, you know what, I'm not giving up, we're still going to do this, and look, funny enough, I still found the courage to like push forward. I was like, no, I'm not gonna give up. We're still gonna make this happen. And I said, okay, yeah, let's see what we can do. I still continued with tutorials, learning things, and things like that. Bear in mind, guys, I didn't even have a camera to do anything. I didn't even have a camera to shoot shit, but I still continued. And that was one of the challenges I can say that I have faced. I faced so many challenges, but that's one major challenge I know I have seen while starting out. And I know that as a creative or as a person moving into such a field, knowing how expensive the things that you require to work can be, that can be a major pullback. That can be something that would make you even rethink the whole thing entirely. But those are things that are going to happen one way or the other, because you can never, like, as much as maybe you might try to prevent it, it's gonna happen, maybe not immediately you start, but maybe somewhere along the line it's gonna happen, right? And that happening, I moved forward. I still continued what I was doing. Now I then started facing challenges even in my work, which what I mean is basically, when you have a client or you meet a client or you are given a job to do that is way beyond, what you are capable of doing at that point in time. Now, there's a probability that you're going to say no. There's a probability that you're going to say no, you can't do it. But for me, I've learned from that, don't get me wrong. If you cannot do something, do not say, like, if you're not a photographer, do not collect a photography job. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't do that. But for me, in graphic design, when I was doing graphic design, for instance, I got some designs that I needed to do, and those designs could be done, right? But I had not learned, or I didn't know the things that I needed to do to be able to get to the end result of such designs or of such videos per se. And what that job required me to do was to go and make a research, go and learn more, go and find the tutorials to be able to learn how to do and achieve this type of thing. So for me, that is a challenge that pushed me forward, right? And that's the kind of challenge I feel like I want to talk about. It's not a challenge that is meant to set you back. It's a challenge that is meant to push you forward. It's a challenge that, because think of it this way, if I said no to that job or jobs like that, I probably wouldn't have learned the things I have learned so far today, because you would only find yourself learning what you feel you want to learn, and at the end of the day, you realize you're not even challenging yourself. You're just doing the basic things, and you're seeing people do much more incredible things, but you keep telling yourself, oh no, this is too much, you can't do this. No, I think that is yourself just being against yourself. And I think that's bad. So I think when you face a challenge, or you're given a challenge to do, or you find yourself in a job that is a bit challenging, I don't think you should all of a sudden turn back and just give up. I think you should go head on and try and figure it out. And if you fail, that is good, because failing is part of success. Like there's only two results of this thing. Is either you fail or you're successful at it. So you fail, you learn from your failure, and you're able to move forward, right? I think people would see this as a Monday motivation or something, but for me, I think challenges are the things that actually put us where we are today. I think challenges are the things that have set a lot of people at the stage they are right now. And if you're a young person listening to this podcast and depending on the field that you're planning to go into, um, have it in mind that you're going to face challenges. I've said this on a previous episode, and I think I said I needed to hammer on this just a little more because you will face challenges. You would face challenges bigger than you sometimes, and sometimes you should really take the stand and just take the challenge as it is. You have to do it because that's the only way I think that you're going to progress in what you're doing. Now, in regards to that, I know I have said something whereby I said I've spoken on how much you learn. This are all from previous episodes. I know I've said how much you learn, document your process, don't be a yes man to everything, blah blah blah, this and this and that. That's if you've been following. If you haven't, you might want to go back to episode 3, I guess, or something. I don't know. But this is episode 7, and yeah, we're moving forward. But I'm just going to use this podcast as another example, right? Before I started doing this podcast, the challenge, there wasn't, I would say, I had the idea of doing this podcast like late last year, and I didn't start this podcast till August. One of the challenges that I did have was, myself. I think I was a challenge to my own self. I kept telling myself, people are not going to like this. Just, don't waste your time. People are not going to pay attention to this. Don't waste your time. And I think that is another challenge we tend to face as creatives, other than challenges that are being thrown at you. You yourself can be a challenge to your own self or to your own progress because you keep telling yourself you cannot do it when you haven't even tried it. And that was what happened on this podcast. And I didn't start this podcast till August when I told myself, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to try it. What's the worst that could happen? I would just stop uploading and that'll be it. Nobody would query me or say, hey, and I have to confess, I wish I started this early this year because this podcast is kind of like, it feels like something I am so interested in doing. It feels like something I enjoy. This is something I enjoy doing. This is something like I love just, talking like this, right? I'm not good talking outside. I'm not good talking in public. I'm not good talking to a group of people, but if I sit in front of the camera like this, I can talk. I can, have my notes here, look at my points, say what I have to say what I feel. Because for me as a person, I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of thinking. So sometimes I have a lot to say, but I'm just like, okay, who is going to listen to me? Nobody's going to listen to me. So really, this podcast, is something that I've been wanting to do, but the challenge that stood between me and this podcast was myself. The challenge was me telling myself, you can do this. And I think that those are some of the things that those are some of the challenges people will face in life, the challenge against yourself. And they say, I think there's a quote that has also spoken about, being one's enemy or something like that. But I think if you take your time and just sit down and try and understand where I'm coming from, you would see that there are a couple of things that you as a person watching this or listening to this has planned to do, but you haven't done it because some voice in your head keeps telling you you cannot do it or keeps giving you excuses for no reason. And that's just you telling yourself that. So really, that's this episode, challenges we face as creatives. And I know that these challenges go everyone in their life has experienced this one way or the other. And I just felt like I needed to share this and make people understand that you need to do it, because challenges are even what makes us better at what we're doing. And yes, I feel like you should take on the challenge and, be a better person at what you do, be a better creative. Do not beat yourself down or tell yourself you cannot do something when you haven't tried to do it. That's what I wanted to say on this episode of this podcast series. Wow. I just want to say we're on episode 7. I'm looking at this podcast going to episode 18 or 17 for this first season, and we'll start season 2 by next year. But I'm just excited, guys. I'm just excited that things are going the way I plan. I've created an Instagram page for this podcast. If you are looking to follow, the Instagram page will be in the description, so you can follow. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything that you guys have done. Thank you for the comments. I have been seeing everyone commenting or sending me messages. Thank you. If you share or do anything, like tag me or something so I can see, because I probably would not see it except you tag me. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. This has been Bobby on the Not Your Normal Podcast, episode 7. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.